Hello everyone, Linda Israel here, and in my Facebook group, one of my admin said, Linda, I would like some ideas on using my rubber stamps for some of my junk journal pieces. So today I've got two projects that I want to share with you that maybe you can then look at your stamps and your supplies and make your own concept out of what I shared today. So the first thing that I've got is I've got a page out of a dictionary. So in the back of this dictionary, this was a pronunciation information, kind of tell you how to pronounce it. And so I trimmed it down, and this is 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 square. And the reason being is I wanted it to fit my rubber stamp that I'm going to put on top. I've got a little bird that's from Inka Dinka Doo Stamps. I think you can see that. And it doesn't have... There's the item number. And it's just a cute little bird. So I've got some Brutus Monroe detail ink. This is a permanent ink that once it is dry, it's permanent. You can speed it up by heat setting it. And it's a dye ink. So a dye ink dries quickly. A pigment ink stays wet longer. And I'm going to turn this on its side because I just think it adds more interest to have the text going the other direction. And I've inked up my stamp, and I'm going to put it right in the center, and I'm going to press firmly straight down in the middle. I'm not going to rock. Don't rock your stamp. Just go straight down. If you let it set for 30 seconds or longer, and I'm doing it for much longer while I'm talking, the ink will transfer to the paper. So if you're stamping and you're not getting a good impression, you're probably just kissing it to the page, and you need to hold it in place for a moment. And then just lift it up, and you're going to have an image. The next thing I'm going to do is add some distress inks. I've got Vintage Photo Distress ink here and a blending tool. And I'm just picking up some of this ink and I'm going to rub it around the edge. This paper is very fragile. Sometimes I hold paper in my hands in the air when I distress it. But this paper is so fragile it will tear. So I'm just going to go around it on top of a little piece of cardboard I have here. This is my glue board that I use, but the back side comes in handy for doing things like that. So I've distressed around the edges, and then I've got a little journaling card. I believe it's 3 by 5 in size. It was just a scrap that was left over, and I'm going to go around the edges of it and add a little distressing. Because it's a heavier paper, I can hold it up in the air. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the Best Glue Ever by Scrap Perfect, and I've put the fine tip nozzle on here so I can get a very small amount of glue, and this will prevent it from warping my paper. So I'm just going to go just a small amount, and if you get too much, what I like is the nozzle, you can kind of spread it around. And I'm going to take this little piece and I'm going to put it right here in this lower corner. And it's pretty cute just like that. You could leave it and be done with it, or you could take it to the next level and zigzag stitch around the outside. And I've got a little word that I could add. So let me show you what one looks like finished. So here it is without the stitching, and here it is with the stitching. And then here's a little word that you could put on if you want, or leave it off. So those are two options that you could do with this same rubber stamp. So I'm going to show you another option. So the next thing I have here is another dictionary pronunciation page. And I'm going to take the same rubber stamp and I'm going to stamp... Wait, I'm going to change this up a little bit. I want to do this in a different order. Okay, so I've got a little palette here, and I have a block or square stamp, and I'm going to spray just a little bit of Curious Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist in my tray here. You don't need a lot, just a little bit. And then I'm going to take my stamp and march it across that Tattered Angels. I'm okay with it being kind of blobby looking. And then I'm going to just place it somewhat at the top here. I'm going to let it set for just a moment, and that'll let that Tattered Angels transfer to the page. So it's just a small area there. And the next thing I'm going to do is take my heat tool and dry this so I can move on to the next section. I like how this kind of gives it a watercolor look with it being splotchy like that. Now I'm going to take the bird stamp and I'm going to stamp it over on the left-hand side of this paper. And then I have some dusty Concord and crushed olive, and I have this stamp that has little flowers on it. So what I'll do is take the dusty Concord, and I know where the flowers pretty much are, and I'm just going to pat that stamp over where the flowers are. And I'm okay if it's not perfect because it's going to be on top of the dictionary page. And then I'm just taking the green and patting it closer to the bottom where I think the leaves are. And then I'm going to take this and we're going to stamp it on the right hand side, somewhat over the edge of the teal color of the Tattered Angels. So there's the flowers on there. And then I have one more stamp that looks like little postage stamps. And let me go back. This one is from Rubber Stampede. And there's the name of it. Let me get it to focus. There's the name of it. And then I've got a postage stamp that's also from Inka Dinka Doo. And I'm going to stamp this with a little bit of the black detail ink from Brutus Monroe. I'm going to kind of place it somewhat at the top, so it kind of looks like it's part of the whole collage. The next thing I'm going to do is use some distressing ink and go around the edge of this. I just like how it softly adds color to this and makes it look a little more vintage. I've got a 4x6 card here that I'm going to do the same thing of going around the edges with the distressed ink. So I'm going to use some of the best glue ever and again put a small bead on the back side of this. And I'm just going to center it onto the card. So this card could be finished just like that, but I want to take another layer on here. So I have words that I cut on my silhouette. Adventure awaits you, and I'm going to use some distress ink around the edge of that. And then I've got a piece of denim here, so what I'm going to do is lay this word series on top. I'm going to use my Fisker scissors and just cut a little block to be a mat. And then let's adhere these together. So I'm going to use the best glue ever again and put a bead on the back side of this paper, just kind of a little zigzag, so it has more to grip to the fabric. And then we'll put it right on top of this denim piece. And the next thing I'm going to do is put some glue on the denim piece on the back side. And I'm going to choose to go somewhat in the bottom center and glue that down. So there it is, plain. There it is, plain, no stitching. And then here's one that I made where I added stitching around the outside of it. I stitched all the way around, and then I made a little bit of zigzag and then straight stitch and zigzag on the top and the bottom of the Adventure Awaits You. You can see that. So there are a few ideas for you to use your rubber stamps. Think of them a little bit differently. Find a book page, a dictionary page, whatnot. Stamp on top of that. That becomes your background. You can add color if you want, or you can leave it pretty plain. I hope you like this little tutorial that I'm sharing with you today. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends so that others can see it as well. Add it to a playlist if you like. Share it in groups, wherever you would like to share it. Comment below, what would you like to see next? What are some things that you need help with? And I'll do a video on that as well. And of course, if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Make sure that you go up to the top and hit that notification bell so that you get a notification the next time I upload a video. Use that description box to see links to the products that I used today. And if you have any questions, again, use that comment box below. Have a fabulous day and keep on creating. Bye.